Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone. Today I have brought another guest, a superstar, here Sandro. Now I will give the floor to him to introduce himself, and then we will have a chat.
Okay. Hello, Ricardo. Hello, everyone. Okay, I am Sandro. Hello, Ricardo. Hello, everyone. Okay, I am Sandro. I have been doing surf publishing for how long now? 2.5 years, almost 3 years since I started doing seppage, but that's okay. Let's start a bit earlier. Before, I worked for a multinational consulting company, and I worked for them for almost 18 years. I live in Dubai. I have already been living in Dubai before starting these entrepreneurial activities as an employee. There aren't gurus in Dubai, employees. It's a normal society and calm. Before doing this publishing, I was always interested in financial freedom, in these discussions about financial freedom. I started by reading some books by Kiyosaki. Everyone starts there, I believe. Let's cover the cash flow quadrants. Enrico, let's talk about the cash flow quadrants. The cash flow continued. One starts from there. In fact, for those who know that I started with real estate, I had tried to do something in real estate, a bit by buying a property, others by renting them out, doing some subletting. This was going well until COVID hit and turned everything upside down, especially here in Dubai. The city lost 400,000 people all at once. So all these businesses went under, especially the smaller ones like ours. Then I got interested. We also did other things. We did publishing. I got interested in this world because you could earn money by creating books and selling them on Amazon. I had started with an initial experience that had some ups and downs. I had also picked up some good books, mostly written by me. I self-published my first good book. Thank you. The problem was that I couldn't, even though there were some ups and downs. I couldn't understand what was driving it. I wasn't in control. It seemed a bit more like a matter of chance rather than something targeted. Then at a certain point, I saw one of your ads, but I saw one of your ads in a community called Fufflix. Someone had posted your ad to make fun of you. Let's say, yes, they wrote all sorts of things under your post. But I remembered your Bache, your and Giuseppe's dashboard, the record dashboard from December. So I thought, what the heck are they making fun of? In fact, I immediately went to look for your course and bought it. From there, things changed for me because I was able to structure my business. Above all, I was able to understand what drives the success of a book and what does not. So at this point, I continued to do some experiments, but when I wanted to write a book that would enter the top 30,000, I succeeded, and now I can do it. I already know that I will write a book that will make it into the top 30,000. And so this is what made the difference. I felt like I went from being out of control to being in control of what I can achieve in this business. Then things started to improve. December was my best month in terms of revenue, net revenue, and gross revenue. Now I'm trying to expand the business. I have created other accounts. Let's see how it goes.
So, for those who are following us and might not be familiar, when Sandro says in the top 30,000, why? Because it is the number with which we measure how many sales a book makes. So number 1 is the best-selling book on Amazon America, and 30,000 will be the 30,000th best-selling book on Amazon America. Imagine how many books there are. Therefore, they turned out to be very, very interesting. Then you can also go down to figures, let's say, closer to 1. So, just to get a clearer picture, before starting with us, what were you doing? Were you making a profit or not?
So my best month, I think I made $2,000 or $3,000, not more, but it lasted only a short time. It lasted a month. Then competitors arrived for my book. I had a flash of inspiration, did something innovative, but they immediately copied and improved it. And my book's ranking dropped. But then I wasn't able to figure out how to get it back on top. After taking your course, I got it back on top. Then I managed to bring it to a BSR of 7,000 to 8,000. So we figured out how to do it.
In fact, I now remember Sandro's dashboard from what seems to be December, where he made around 23, 24K. And the striking thing was that he had only added one book. He went from practically 1,000, 2,000 consistently to 23,000 with the same number of books just by adding one.
Yes, apparently I already had the books at home. I just restructured, revised, and relaunched them, especially relaunched them correctly according to the techniques of the course, in order to give them the right visibility and success in the market. There were factors that I underestimated, especially in terms of the cover and the launch, which were actually much more important. Once I fixed those, I was able to push other books as well, because I tend to write books mainly on keywords where I'm quite knowledgeable. So it rarely happens that I get more negative reviews, but it has never been a disaster. It has never happened that one of my books was overwhelmed with negative reviews after 10 days. This is because I tend to write or have others write, but now I write myself. At LibraSquare, I was competent, so I was able to control what I wrote. Even the ghostwriter wrote, and then we sent it to the market. So also to monitor, to have ideas on how to beat the competition.
So let's say you found some strategic differences with us, because many people say, but I already have a course. I already took course X, course Y. Why should I take another one?
Yes, more than anything. Before I had the feeling I had to write 10 books, maybe 2 would do well. It's roughly a Pareto distribution. But now I know that if one correctly chooses the book from the keyword app, the niche they want to write in, these probabilities already increase significantly. Then he publishes it, and well, you can always make all the adjustments to improve it, but if you start by choosing the right book with the right profit in mind, when you study the competition, including how much it might cost, etc., the book can be profitable. A book can always continue to do poorly, but let's say we're no longer at 8 or 10, but 1 out of 2. Books does well, even more.
Yes, because many people step out of the usual business logic thinking that online is different. For example, we talked about real estate earlier. Many might publish based on keywords, thinking, yes, let's publish if the results are under 100,000. But they don't know how much they will earn. They don't know what their royalties will be. They don't know how to increase these royalties to have more margin with ads. And they don't plan for the ad expenses. So they don't make a proper business plan, a recovery plan, and therefore they do things randomly. This is something, in my opinion, very serious that really changes the way you think. In the end, there is a business, and therefore you need to take action.
Yes, but in fact now it is more similar to the property I have in Dubai, which I treated as a business because when I bought it, I had made all the projections with how much I would earn from the rents. Then, regarding the expenses, electricity, phone, mortgage, even in the projections, now they were increasing the mortgage rates. To what extent I was able to cover the expenses, all these things. Now the same criteria are being applied to the self-publishing business as well, obviously. We use books instead of houses, but the concept is the same.
So if we were to give an example, if we were to make an example, you who are also in the real estate sector, it's nice to bring up these examples here to make a profit. I would like to understand what is actually required for real estate to be profitable. It comes to mind that to make $2,000, $3,000 net from rentals, there is a significant economic effort and management involved, as well as a psychological aspect. Because, taking out a mortgage, organizing the rentals, and then something like COVID happens. You need to be someone who is also psychologically prepared.
No, yes, every apartment was. You had to put $20,000, $30,000 on top just to start. There wasn't even tenant income yet. Even there, let's say you do some tests It's not like you start with the idea and say, okay, I want to take this life, rent out the rooms. First, I make some somewhat fake ads, see how many people call for that price. If no one calls it, means there's no market. If people start calling it, means there's a market, and then you can sell. So based on that, you make the business plan, knowing that I will earn, for example, a certain 90% occupancy rate if I do things right. But the problem is that, you see, laws can come into play. There is always the issue of external variables that you can't control. Laws can change taxation. A lot of things can change, and obviously they change the business plan. They can even change the area if there are extreme events. So let's say with equal revenue, if we wanted to say, I make $5,000 with real estate per month, or I make $5,000 with publishing. It's better with publishing. In fact, I am now trying to sell my life insurance policy because I want to extract all the liquidity from it to invest in online businesses, as there is no comparison in terms of profitability. Back then, when I bought in 2015, online businesses hadn't exploded like they have now. And if they had exploded, we would have attacked lightly. Today, I see real estate more as something that once you've made millions, you put your money into properties as an alternative to having cash. In my opinion, if someone were to make millions, they would have some in offshore accounts around the world, some in gold, metals, etc., and some in real estate, to spread out a bit here and a bit there, so to protect yourself from any crisis that might ever happen. However, I no longer see it as a source that is today with online business, particularly one of these publishing opportunities with little money, especially today with the technology we have now. It is really possible to start such a business with very little money.
Yes, look, I was living in a very, very nice building in Dubai, Business Bay. So just a stone's throw from the mall, etc. And I was also considering buying an apartment there. I had made two estimates on how much the monthly earnings were and how much the apartment cost. So the apartment cost at least 250K at the very least. Yes, 250 euros. The studio is 42 square meters, but it was practically certain to rent it out. Okay. And the estimates were still to make around 2,000 euros, 2,500 gross rent, because if there was an agency involved, they rented them out for about 10K monthly. So those were roughly the figures, without considering maintenance and everything else. Here, instead, with publishing, to make 2,000 euros, you can create a book at home with ChatGPT. In a day, put it on Amazon, and potentially make $2,000 the same month or the next month. So really, there is an impressive potential. It is truly a fortunate era because, as Sandro said, in 2015, there wasn't this explosion of online businesses. And to make 2-3 recurring, let's say semi-passive incomes per month, you had to put down thousands and thousands of euros for an apartment mortgage and everything that comes with it.
So true. Yes, I was doing it back then in 2000. And when it was 2015, it was the golden age because rents now, the prices haven't yet reached the prices of 2015. In 2015, rents were much higher, still about 20 to 30% higher than now in Dubai. Back in 2015, when you rented, you could really rent a master room in GVC for around 5,000 dirhams, which is about 1,250 euros per month in JBR downtown. A master room cost 2,000 euros at that time, around 7,000 to 8,000 dirhams. This way, I was able to make around $3,000 a month. Plus I paid the mortgage. It should be noted that part of the mortgage payment goes towards amortizing the principal of the mortgage. So in theory, that is also earned, but it remains locked in liquidity that is not accessible. So it's the 3,000 plus another 2,000 that go towards paying off the mortgage. 3,000 plus 5,000 was managed to be done. Now 5,000 items. Someone who starts today with the right approach can indeed do well with a capital of maybe even $3,000 or $4,000, just because you have to pay the fees anyway. Those you have to pay. You need to have the money in advance to put in, and then you can generate the same result without having to put down $150,000 as a down payment on a house.
Sure. Really another story, an opportunity. So, going back a bit to the world of publishing, as we said, we were talking a bit about the differences. So, a discussion about the business plan, then another discussion that we might address for the guys who are in your situation or who are in your situation. The issue of complexity, I like to talk about this. So, the excessive complexity created, all the services that are referenced in these industries precisely, because complexity is created. How do you see this? All the things we talked about, the quality, the brief, the buyer persona. How do you see all this stuff?
I see that. I also had these things. After the initial success of my first book that went on to make $1,000, $2,000, I had self-written. Because the real problem with writing service companies, these kinds of things, is that you think they will give you a well-done product. I had also made websites before. I had already interacted with freelancers. I know how difficult it is to find a good freelancer. It is really difficult to find a good freelancer. I mean, you can't think that by paying $100, $200, you're also good at it, right? No, most of the time it's not like that at all. I don't know how many freelancers I've had to deal with in my life because they didn't deliver. They delivered rubbish copied from here and there trying to sell it to me. So my expectation with the writing company was that, okay, you are asking me for a margin, but I expect that you have already done this filtering with the freelancers as you are charging me for the same service I want to pay $250. You are asking me for $600, $700, $800. And I expect that you have been able to apply this filter so I don't have to struggle to find a good freelancer anymore. Instead, when the first books arrived, I said, what is this stuff? I mean, my first book was a book on veganism. And I received chapters with pork, veal, cows, and food. I mean, guys.
You were supposed to order a meat cookbook, but you received the vegan ones.
I could just turn into a king krill or something like that. Maybe that's how it worked. So let's say I need to change the keyword. I need to change. When I pointed it out, then to notice other defects, I sent the book back. Hello, can you see me? Yes, I can see you. I can see you. Hello, yes, I'm online. When I sent the book back with my notes, my comments, because then I didn't review the whole book. It was the first book, so I wanted to do things properly. There were recurring errors in the research. And I also asked him to double check everything. They sent it back to me, only correcting what I had pointed out without reviewing the entire book. These things make you angry. Because today, sorry, but that's how it is. Coming from a consulting firm, knowing that I have worked with top clients in various sectors, especially in telecommunications, when you do a bad job, meaning you do something that is not good for the client. So you might get a second chance, but if you mess up that second chance, you get kicked out, you don't get in again. This is how it normally works in the business world. Instead, I saw these mistakes, I could go back and complain. They kept sending me the book not yet precise, so I decided to write them myself. Or then I found myself as a freelancer on my own with artificial intelligence. By the way, I use artificial intelligence. We'll get to that. Now there's been an explosion, but artificial intelligence programs have been around for more than 2 years. In particular, there was, what's his name? Jasper and his brothers. There are others. Jasper is the most famous, but at that point, I chose mine, having understood how to go about it. I had placed an advertisement on Upwork asking for someone who knew how to use the programs. And so my books have always been written with the help of artificial intelligence because I believed it was better than what a publisher could do by randomly taking pieces and putting them together, randomly taking pieces here and there and putting them together. So I believe that artificial intelligence could better help freelancers write a more structured and absolutely more coherent book compared to, it wasn't yet at the level it is now with the CPT, but they seem better to me compared to those coming from freelancers who would gather news here and there to the extreme. I have never had any problems with Amazon regarding the content of books written with artificial intelligence.
I have never had a program with Amazon Plus. What feedback did it receive from the market?
Let's say there have been a lot of negative reviews, books, or as I said before, I mean, I have had some like everyone else, but I have never had really destructive negative reviews. I have a book in Germany, and then I also translated it into German. It has been in Germany for a year with reviews of the paperback, which are ultimately the truthful ones. This means that the book is considered well written with more than 70 ratings and an average of 4 or more stars. If there are books where you see the paperback with 2 stars, 1 star, you don't understand. The book is poorly written. And what about the cover?
Our cover. Let's open the cover discussion. How did you find yourself before with the minimum differentiated services, especially before joining our course? Did you have a strategy?
I had no idea how to make a cover. I had absolutely no idea how to build a cover, the important elements. Especially, I completely neglected not so much the images, but the font part, the importance of the font that had to be large. In short, without going into too many details, the book has to be noticeable. I completely ignored any cover design engineering. I had no idea how to do it. I mean, I wasn't able to say this cover will sell, this cover won't sell, it can't attract attention.
You weren't given a strategy.
Instead, now I'm able to correctly guide
And now they are slowing down.
my
You were not given a strategy, let's say a blueprint to follow for creating the cover, so you didn't actually know how to make it.
So I imagine you delegated to various services. Yes, even there, I quickly took steps to find myself a freelancer. Before even my freelancer, but I didn't guide him at the beginning. I mean, I made the covers for him. The good thing about the freelancer is that the covers cost me $15. So even if I had to throw it away and redo it, I only lost $15.
Yes, it doesn't matter much who does it, the important thing.
Now, however, I am able to guide the freelancer.
Come on, Alessandro, we feel a bit in.
Yes, now I can manage the free insert.
So now you actually know what to tell him. Look, I want it done this way for this reason, with this color, with this font. And obviously the outputs are of quality because
with these images, I now take the images from Aerodroid stock when you need to use this. Because before I was also at risk of BAM since I had him do it, so he would take the stuff that I didn't know then. Also of dubious origin. So I was really risky with the covers I had put. But as you can see now, they are all sorted out, taken with the license, etc. But in the past, I had covers that if Amazon had asked me about them, I would have risked a ban on the cover.
yes. Now let's say that the game is really the origin of the photo used in the. Now the game has really changed. It has become more serious. So everything needs to be precise. The cover, the entire book. So we also have a module within the course for this to work on.
I recently realized about the book. I wrote with artificial intelligence, which I also posted the revenue in the group, that Amazon had even suspended the book. I don't know for what reason. I had sent all the things I had discussed in the course to validate the risk on copyright, the rights on images, that is the check plug, sent them back, and after a couple of hours, they reactivated everything without any problem, apologizing for having suspended the book because they had no reason to suspend it. I don't know what triggered that thing, probably some competitor, I don't know.
Then it's normal. These are inspections. It's like if you open a restaurant, the HCCP will come to check if everything is up to standard. And the same thing happens in the publishing business. If you want to do business and earn money, everything must be correct and compliant with the policies.
You always have to give them that. This is the Akimo Solone. This is the Akimo Solone.
Of Damocles.
Sorry, I was cutting.
We'll cut it anyway. It was years ago. Hello? Hello? Sorry. Don't worry, don't worry.
I just told you that I really would have a cold while he had left a pot on the stove, and I could smell something burning. Because my wife makes channels, she is doing YouTube, so she is recording her content. Yes, yes. She has a YouTube channel.
Now you can tell me. So, go ahead. Are you ready? Shall we start?
Yes, I'm here, I'm here.
He make YouTube cooking videos.
No, 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 YouTube about man-woman relationships with the car, of course, to teach women how not to let the man get away. I want to find out how to make myself attractive to wealthy men.
Even my girlfriend tells me that a course like this is great. It's great, damn.
I don't know why the channel hasn't yet. I mean, it has moderate success, but it's not exploding. And he makes good videos. I never know. Does he sponsor?
Can you sponsor a bit?
No, not yet. In theory, he had already done it once and sponsored it. Then they banned his channel by mistake. I mean, he used copyrighted music. Someone gave him 3 strikes and he didn't want to hear about reducing the strikes, so he had to start over from scratch.
You say to use TikTok. Even for these things, TikTok is very popular.
Oh yes, he uses it. You know, he also makes videos on TikTok. He uses TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, everything. Only if you want, I keep it more for socializing, not for TikTok. He uses more for socializing, not for, I have to say, to put some.
Yes, this stuff on TikTok is really popular. Really popular. All right, let's go.
To make clips of the videos and put them on TikTok, he should do it.
Yes, for Cyril, which is very popular. Very popular. Short content on TikTok on these topics then becomes very popular. All right, let's continue. So, Sandro, let's get back to the topic of technical differences. Maybe your adzan that you were doing something different. Did you use it on Akos?
Yes, with Akos now I save a lot of time. The campaigns have few keywords, about 10 keywords, 15 depending on the book, but some really, in the end, there are 3 to 4 keywords that sell. The rest is all noise that is there, all the noise that is behind.
What do you think about Koba? Did it actually give you a different perspective? Also, in terms of book recovery, understanding where the sales funnel was stopping, what to fix, and how to play with the variables.
Yes, no, yes, 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 definitely. But not only also, precisely for one then one. The management of time that is having to manage small campaigns anyway. And certainly easier too. It also overcomes the problem of Amazon's tracking. For those who don't know, Amazon sometimes doesn't track. You might find that you have 6 orders on the ads. And then maybe there was a missed tracking. So maybe you think the ads are not doing well while they are actually doing well. Now, Koba helps to fix this. A big problem I had was the calibration of the has, because maybe I was giving more gas than necessary, spending too much, but only because they were not tracking the has correctly, not because they were not selling or performing. And yes, it has definitely helped a lot with work organization. In terms of getting up, it is saving me a lot of time, because really, in the beginning, when I had to get up, I would say on Monday, I was really reluctant. I would start in the morning and finish in the evening, starting everything from the keyboard, the product style, etc. But now it's quite nice. You get up here, you manage things there, and off you go. Just keep going.
Moreover, it is a pointless task, because if you don't actually know how many orders have been made, you have skewed data. You look at this and optimize, but you are optimizing skewed data. So it is always a somewhat pointless task that takes time. Instead, with Koba, having everything straight and clear is a completely different story.
Yes, because you have more control over the outcome. This is what I put in. This is what I expect to get. The flow of money on actions is much more controlled in general, because when things go wrong, you don't know exactly where. You are losing money. Are you putting in too much, too little? Or is the campaign not going well? Koba helps with all these phases of the campaign, helping to manage them much better in a much more efficient way. And it also saves a lot of time. This way of managing ads also improves launches. For example, the launch is now managed in this way, as they are managed in Alta Stegroniria. Beyond Koba, the launch method we use is definitely very effective. I launched a campaign 4 days ago, an automatic campaign, and it already has 4 clicks with sales. Today, I started to push a bit more to see how it goes, and it will probably go well. I am targeting a book that is at bestseller rank, BSR 2000, so let's hope for the best.
We unseat him.
Let's see, but look, yes, I can manage it well. Even if it goes to 5,000, it would be quite a failure.
5,000, guys. For those who are less familiar with bestseller rank, BSR numbers, when you reach a BSR of 5,000, I would say you are already selling quite a few copies, at least 20 or 30 copies a day.
So you can even reach 10K a day if it's a good horror. If you want to sell it in the UK, you can also sell it in Canada. So you can even reach 10K a day if you are a good rover.
Then you sell it in the UK, you sell it in Canada, you sell it everywhere. With a good royalty of $14, $12, the calculations are quickly done. Right. Let's see if Sandro will update us on this matter. And how did you find working with all the other applications? In other words, how did you set up the work before? Well, I don't know, maybe coming from a multinational background. You were used to organizing work in a certain way, or anyway, let's say, how did you organize work before? And how do you organize it now with all the applications?
Excel, for example, for keyword research, ad optimization, review scheduling, cash flow organization and management, business optimizations, etc., etc. How are you finding the whole module we provided? Yes, yes, no. No, I'm finding it good because they give me a structure. I mean, because they are modules specifically made for publishing, so they have helped me a lot to understand, and they especially help you understand where you are losing money, to put it clearly, because sometimes you think, I made 10K, but why do I only have 2K left? Or I made 5K this month, but in the end, I can't find any of it. In my opinion, the money is gone. I start to see that the money in the account is gone. So I begin to look into where it went.
When I did it for the first time, I went to check the formatting section and I had spent like 4,000 euros, 5,000 euros on formatting. I mean, madness. You told me that now they are done in-house and the first company voice. Saved 15,000 euros on book writing, which was already significantly reduced with freelancers, and now with artificial intelligence, practically only the launch and the cover are left if one wants to stick with freelancers. So practically now with artificial intelligence, the costs are reduced to zero. The only cost that comes to mind is the cover for those who still don't know how to handle a camera or can't make it at home. Then they are reduced to zero, meaning practically the launch and advertising costs. So how does this self-publishing change in terms of costs, speed, and quality?
It changes a lot. You find a keyword, especially if you find a trend, you go for it. You watch your actor and you're in the market. This is the big advantage, especially if you find a trend. If you do find a trend, it is really extremely important to be on the market immediately. It definitely helps a lot. It also allows you to experiment. The nice thing is that it allows you to experiment. Now, the son is a bit neglected, but I have also written about some cookbooks in an experimental way, because you can experiment without too many details. For example, with cookbooks, we compete on the number of recipes, the meal plan, and some bonus videos. It's always the same things. One seeks poetry, the nourishment. You make 200, I make 300, that one has 500. But now with CGPT, there is the possibility to also change the way you present a cookbook or a diet or something like that, because it's already around. This is an example. So you can experiment because the book costs you nothing. It only costs you a bit of time to design and write it. Therefore, you can differentiate yourself in various ways. That is GPT, and by chance, at the beginning of January this year, I was on vacation in Italy in mine. As I was saying, I hadn't heard of CGPT yet. I don't know why. Anyway, on YouTube, in my feed, I get these videos that show me how to make a video on YouTube using intelligence. I watched it, and when I saw that this person was using CGPT, I said, what is this stuff? I tried it and I said no. Let's say I tried it, I said no. I need to use this right away to write the books. I immediately instructed my freelancer to write the books. Now I partly write them myself, and partly I dedicate some to her. In any case, it's worth it to free up some of my time, but it's essential. What surprised me was the general aversion I felt towards artificial intelligence when it first came out. I mean, it's not that it surprised me. I think the aversion to artificial intelligence was somewhat biased because with some people in the group who had asked me what I thought, I said that in my opinion, artificial intelligence is something that won't bother Amazon, because for Amazon, what matters is whether the customer is satisfied or not. So if the customer is satisfied with the books written with artificial intelligence, Amazon will be happy because they sell. If customers start not buying them and leaving negative reviews, then Amazon will surely take steps to remove it. But if I have to think about the books written for me by freelancers and writing agencies and those written by GPT, there's no comparison. Even if you don't know how to use GPT, you can simply use it without any. You just sit there and say, write this for me, write something that is better than 90% of freelancers. If you also know how to structure it, the message that was taught to me in the artificial intelligence course, obviously it also maintains good quality, but even if you use it in a very basic way, the outcome is better than what is written in writing companies. Also, and above all, regardless of the quality, and even beyond the detected or not detected discourse, the problem is plagiarism. Artificial intelligence writes something for you that is not plagiarized. You pass it through Turnitin, and it is not plagiarized by the artificial intelligence. It has written something original. So you will never risk getting banned by Amazon for plagiarism.
Yes, there is an impressive revolution, just the concept of time to market itself. I have always pushed a lot on this matter because everyone used to say, it's a writing house, yes, but it takes them a month, while a freelancer takes a week. So by the time you order on the same keyboard, by the time you arrive, I have already launched, I already have reviews, and I am already doing well. So this is it. With ChatGPT now, you can even do it in 48 hours, 24 hours, depending on what you need to do, of course. There is no comparison. You see a trend, and in 48 hours, you are on the market. The quality is higher. So indeed, by the very nature of the business, it was necessary to delegate to these freelancers who obviously were not native speakers. They would take some pieces here and there and elaborate on them. Maybe, I remember many reviews, although if you look at the reviews, they were saying that these books were really disjointed. That is, they were a jumble of information. Instead, with ChatGPT, you now give it an order. And obviously, the quality of the text is much, much higher. It's free, okay? That is, unless, well, ChatGPT Plus is 20 euros a month.
The thing you might complain about is that maybe the structure of the text is more or less always the same. It's repetitive, but the structure, not the content. But anyway, this is a skimmable anti-character. However, 5-star reviews are coming in for the paperback. I don't know if I can find one here on the phone. Yes, this book here. Make sure not to write the keyword of the review. They wrote me a 5-star review, American market. Where is it? This book has been on the market for a month and a half now, and it hasn't received a 1-star review yet. Yet it has a bestseller rank, BSR, of 10,000 for the paperback, and around 10,000 for the Kindle as well. It has no one-star reviews, zero, after a month and a half on the market. Normally, you are beautiful. That's not what it's called. I found this book a good read. Although I have not implemented all the items suggested in the book, I will keep the book closed as a resource. This arrived the other day, yesterday.
Translate it, because maybe not everyone here speaks English.
Yes, I found this book a good read. Although I haven't yet had the time to implement everything you suggest, I will find this book handy as an important resource.
I'm losing you for a moment, Sandro. Okay, now you're there.
Can you see us now, right?
Yes, now I see you are stuck. Okay, now you should.
No, the phone is running out of battery because I am connected to it. I will leave the conversation for you.
So you were saying we lost the last piece after the review.
Yes, reviews of this type were being mentioned. I have this book that has been on the market for a month and a half now. And if the publisher has put a book on the market for a month and a half and it hasn't received a negative review, having a book that sells 20, 30 copies a day between Kindle and paperback, sometimes even more, it's very natural that in a month and a half it won't receive even a one-star review. This one hasn't received any yet. Reviews show 1 or 2 stars. The worst rating is 3 stars that this book has here.
And then the thing that really stands out is getting an organic 5-star rating.
Organic. Yes, it's organic. This is an organic 5-star rating. This book is also translated into Italian. In Italy, it sells less to those who look at it. But since it cost me nothing to translate it into Italian, I published it in Italian as well. And there it also received a similar 5-star rating of the same caliber as this one.
So always translated with ChatGPT and still artificial intelligence.
Yes, through ChatGPT. The only cost, even the cover is the same. So I'm not even worried. My freelancer doesn't even charge me for the translations of the covers. I only paid for the launch, the advertising for the launch.
Fantastic. So you were telling me that you practically opened another account besides the one you already have, right? Because obviously it's smart to diversify, guys, in terms of risk and in terms of exit. We talked about this. You opened another account entirely with artificial intelligence. How is it going?
The account is currently doing well. Let me show you this book I'm talking about right now.
Go ahead, share us.
But if you go, you become weakened. This is the book. This was launched towards the end of April. This book, it was written entirely with artificial intelligence. You can see the results, it seems to. Be able to make even $350 in a day. This advertising cost me about $70, $80 a day, 70, 80 in the US, then another 40 in the UK, or 120, 130, let's say, in advertising per day for this book.
Then, obviously, for those who are less experienced, in the initial phase where you see at the bottom, there is obviously a first phase of launch and testing, and here.
And it was gaining momentum.
It was gaining momentum. So it started in May. How much did you actually make with that book in May?
From mid-May onwards, it was around $4,000, $3,500, something like that. It was all of May. Then, because now this is until the end of June.
Okay. Anyway, we see that you make around $122, $150, $250 a day with an expense of $300. Even there you reached with an expense of...
Yes, I reached 340, no, 306 at most. Now, it has dropped. And today the bestseller rank, BSR, is 8,000. So in the next few days, I expect it to be a bit higher.
So basically this guy's done zero investment at home in 48 hours. Sandro, how long did it take you?
Yes, the book was live for 48 hours. It was published for 48 hours. From the moment I decided to publish it, when I published it, 48 hours had passed.
Okay.
Mainly because I decided to use ChatGPT-4, which has a limit of 26 prompts every 3 hours. Be careful. I would have published it in 24 hours, not in 4 hours though.
And so you have, guys, zero investment, homemade, well done, a book that takes off.
$15 for the cover. To be honest,
$15 for the cover. How much could I have spent on the launch? $100, $150.
yes, more or less.
So a total of $175 for a finished book launched that gets positive reviews, and then the ads. So you had practically $80 a day, $70, $80 a day of ads to make 200, 220, 300. So we are talking about a minimum of $150 net per day. Okay, this is also for those starting from scratch, but I have no budget and I don't know how to proceed. So you create a book done well, obviously, with the right standards, because they are coming to our course, knew where to go, knew it would hit there, analyzed it well, did it, published it, and the numbers are coming in. Obviously, these numbers are always growing because it started in April. So let's say the launch was on April 22nd, with the first sale actually on April 24th.
Therefore, the first delivery was on April 24th. So around April 20th, on April 16th or 17th, I had made the publication. I started advertising immediately for the month, the day after the publication. Then, while I did everything I needed to do, I started receiving the copies here.
So April 20th, April 15th, we count. Okay, obviously the first 2 weeks when launching a book are not counted because it takes time to gain traction, time to apply the strategy. It takes a bit to start gaining momentum. So we see it starting to gain momentum at the beginning of May. Okay, so from the beginning of May to the end of June, which isn't even over yet because today is the 26th, we've practically made $10,000. Let's assume an expense of, I don't know, around 30%, Sandro, more or less. 30% means that he spent $3,000, made $7,000 net in 2 months, and we are already paying him $3,500 net per month, starting from zero with a homemade book. So really, really congratulations. And let this serve everyone to understand the potential of artificial intelligence, because it is truly a game changer.
This bar is low because the day is still ongoing. Obviously, when America opens, it will go up.
Sure, the day is ongoing. So in Dubai, it is 15:55, which means in Italy, it is.
They are waking up now on the East Coast in the United States. So the whole day is still ahead.
So it means that there is still the whole day ahead if it hasn't already made $87. So it's morning there, which means it will probably add up to $300 and more.
A lot of stuff. Yes, because right now the bestseller rank, BSR, is at its lowest, both on Kindle and paperback. Yesterday, it hit the lowest point. So it's a pace that's further boosting. That's what I mean.
Well then, the sensitive data is obviously redacted. I can see the title.
Oh, damn. Oh, no.
No, but they will be darkened. They will be darkened. Don't worry. My advice is to translate it into Germany as well, quickly. Then let me know.
He's already in Germany.
Ah, okay. Fantastic.
In all languages, that is.
Very well done.
Only in Germany, it's not going well. This part you can cut. In Germany, it's not going so well. I don't know why, but there's one that's doing well there with 50 reviews, huh?
Yeah, I know, but I don't know why it has 400 reviews in Germany.
I don't know. This book has 400 reviews. In Germany.
Books and not. I'll send you what I saw later. Okay. Okay, so go ahead, Sandro. You can stop sharing. I'll ask you the last few questions. Then I'll leave you to ChatGPT, as you'll definitely have some tinkering to do with ChatGPT today. How do you stop sharing? 3 dots above the black bar. Hover over it and choose. Stop sharing. So now I wanted to ask you a question that I ask everyone when I interview them. I like to put them on the spot live. So what are your goals? Let's say from here on with publishing in terms that can be monetary. It could be that you want to use it to finance other businesses for.
Yes, so I want definitely everything. My entire journey to financial freedom stems from the fact that I am passionate about bridge, the card game of bridge. I want to have all the time to dedicate the rest of my life to playing bridge with the goal of becoming a world champion. This is it. This is everything behind it. Everything I am building is to give me the possibility to delegate everything I will do from now on. You can add some other legs to the table, which could be other digital businesses, in addition to maintaining self-publishing. And then so that I can free up my time to dedicate myself full-time to bridge. If someone searches for my name, there is also a book on bridge that one has my name on it. I wrote it, 60,000. But I didn't write that without artificial intelligence because unfortunately there's GPT and it doesn't understand anything about bridge.
Guys, go read Sandro's book on bridge for those who don't know what it is. I mean, it's there. Sandro's book is live. Your life has definitely changed compared to when you were independent. Let's say with the advent of online business publishing. How has it changed?
Yes, it has changed because, well, I manage my time as best as I can, like you do with a schedule. Anyway, there's still work to be done. But with these online businesses, there's always work to do. There's always something new to learn. And if you free up some time, you use it to add legs to the table. It's not like you're doing nothing. However, it must be said that if, for example, I need to pick up my son from kindergarten, I can go and pick him up. If I have to take her to the pool in the morning, instead of going to work, I take her to the pool, then maybe I work late into the evening. In December, I was able to spend a month in Italy for Christmas. It had been a while since I was last in Italy. At Christmas, I didn't see the 5 years that I hadn't gone. I spent all the Christmas holidays in Italy. I wanted to work from Amiso. I wanted the other season from Italy. And so I can manage my time, even in simple ways before, when I had to take vacations and travel. Maybe on weekends, I would choose the day, perhaps because flights were cheaper on that day, and I can travel whenever I want. This is also a side economic advantage because for me, it makes no difference to travel on Monday now rather than on Saturday. Before, I used to travel on Friday and Saturday.
The real thing, in fact, I was also talking about it with my girlfriend, is to travel when others are not traveling. I mean, weekends are okay, but on weekends, it's crowded everywhere. That is, if you like to have a bit of calm.
Yes, it's true. But even normal things every day, like going grocery shopping, if you go on the weekend, the supermarket is crowded. If you go on Monday morning, there's no one there. When you go there, there's no one. You don't find traffic. You don't find parking problems. So when others are stuck, you are never stuck.
Look, it's beautiful. I'm also going with my girls. On Saturday and Sunday, we don't go to the beach. I mean, we don't go because everyone goes, so it's crowded. We go on Monday. On Monday, it's beautiful there. No one bothers you, meaning there's no chaos. So it's definitely a significant freedom. And so nothing really. Then Sandro, you will update us on your goals. We are looking forward to this world title.
I don't know. I have an ambitious goal. If there are no setbacks, maybe I can manage to make even 70, 80K in a month for the next season. This is a goal I have with Igster Publishing. And then add some more legs to the table. Without mentioning other businesses, maybe they could also be interesting. I'm conducting the experiment here and there. Let's see how it goes. When one has time, they can probably also conduct experiments. This is the most beautiful thing. Maybe before, at least for those working in multinational companies, you would leave the house at 7 in the morning, come back in the evening, and still have work to do. So you wouldn't find the time to do everything. On weekends, the phone would ring constantly. Thanks. This is what happens when you are a worker or an employee, especially if you work for a certain type of companies that have a certain type of mentality. And at a certain point,
Then there's the job at the multinational company, the family, and responsibilities. And it becomes difficult to coordinate everything.
If there are any young people taking this interview, do these things when you are in your 20s, because when you have a family, it becomes much more complicated to do, because in addition to your own problems, you also have everyone else's, your children, if you have any, and university. It really becomes more complicated. I mean, I wish I had these opportunities when I was in my 20s. Even if you are going to university, right? I mean, studying is great. I also got my degree, etc. However, in my opinion, having an online business is now a must for a young person. That is, even if you are studying something you like, you can do something where you absolutely need the job. You can be a doctor. You can go and fly planes made by someone who learned on YouTube. However, try to add a minimum amount of revenue, a little bit more. The step up can really happen, especially today. And it is very good for young people. Work, because it also gives you peace of mind, even if you were to find a job tomorrow, right? And there are people who nowadays suffer at work. Maybe they don't rebel. They are mistreated and harassed with tasks that aren't even within their competencies, meaning they can't say no, or they face impositions like whether one agrees with the vaccine or not. It's not the issue. If someone is required to get vaccinated to be able to work, those who disagreed, well, you have an income, then you can choose. It becomes a choice. You can do it or not, but it becomes your choice, and no one is forcing you because you have built your freedom. And then if someone treats you badly at work, you can tell them to go to hell. You can respond because you don't care about losing your job, even if it's a job you like, right? Because maybe, I suppose there are many people who want to do a blessed job because they like it, but then they might find themselves in situations where they don't want to risk their position because they might need the money at that moment. And these situations can happen. There are many Italians in these situations who, if they had even a minimal income, even 1,000 or 2,000 euros per year, would be much more efficient and could also do better in their dream job, whatever it may be.
Let's remember that the average salary is 300 euros. So it is definitely something that everyone should do. Then there is also the possibility, as we saw with this interview, about full content books with Sandro, but there is also the possibility with low content where there is neither ad investment nor launch investment. So thanks to artificial intelligence, you really start from scratch. We have seen examples of people who have done very, very well.
If one finds even an hour a day to do a Sudoku and publish it, at least something will go well. Even if you don't know what you need to do, in the end, it's enough if they sell 1 or 2 copies, 10 copies a month with each Sudoku. What do you do? After you've made 100, you get a nice little nest egg.
Yes, but just think about it simply. If you read 1 book a day for a year, okay, and instead of watching Netflix for half an hour in the evening, you just read this book. For a year, half an hour is doable, okay? By the end of the year, you will have read 365 books. Let's assume they mistakenly sell 2 copies each per month, okay? Not per day, because otherwise the numbers would be too high. That is per month. We are already talking about 800, 900 copies, okay? 900 copies, okay. Let's say, conservatively, $2 in royalties. We are already talking about 1,800, 2,000 euros per month, which is already significant in Italy.
When I left Italy, I was a manager with a salary below 3,000 euros. Per month, that is, I was a manager.
When I left Italy, I was working as a bartender in Italy. Then I did a bit of everything in London. But as a bartender, I was earning 700 euros under the table. I was still working 6 hours a day, 6 days a week, 700 euros under the table. I'll just tell you that I was spending on gas because I had a scooter. I was spending 10 euros a day on gas to go back and forth because I was practically crossing Milan. I had maybe 400 euros left, 350 euros. When I think about it now, it's crazy. You make a booklet.
If I had recognized the university today at 18, I would take my degree in physics as I did, but then I would definitely start a business like this in parallel. I would have no doubts. It's something I recommend to anyone starting university who might come across this video. I mean, it's fine if you study, come to study, but don't do like some idiots I see who suggest not studying. If this is an opportunity and you like it, study. It certainly doesn't hurt. However, you can easily combine it with an online business. One evening, don't go out with your friends. You don't have to go to the bar with your friends every night to drink. Spend one evening at home in your room for 2 or 3 hours, create 2 or 3 booklets and publish them.
Yes, yes, yes. But then, if you think about it, many university students who are already away from home actually work. So those hours they invest because they do invest hours to work. Maybe they earn starvation wages, work as waiters, work in bars, picking up odd jobs here and there. If they dedicated those hours to publishing, probably in 1 or 2 months, they would earn a much higher income, which would also allow them to have more free time to better focus on their studies.
Then, instead of going to an apartment, they go to a room, rent it themselves and sublet the rooms. This could be an idea. Instead of renting an entire apartment, you sublet the rooms and make a profit as well.
But you need to have a bit of a budget to do this. You set the budget with the audiences with these things here.
Then you start your chain. We are giving business ideas. But this is what I would do if I were 18 years old, if I could talk to my 18-year-old self.
So I would start with this online business and then the various directives.
I would still go to university, but it started next to me, right? It's a bad possibility. And then, yes, learning the euro alongside an online business. You can find 1 or 2 hours a day if you want. You find it more when you are older than when you are. At university, there is no comparison.
Absolutely. I do that too. Look, I used to do it like this. I worked and studied. Anyway, I find them, for example, when I was in London, where I was working as a waiter and bartender. I worked a lot, and I managed to earn salaries of £2,700, earning €7 an hour, to give you an idea of the number of hours. And in the meantime, I was studying publishing, and now, of course, life has changed. So, guys, I hope this interview has been an inspiration to all of you, to those who are already in publishing, to those who are just starting now, and to those who don't have an online business. A bit to everyone, so I thank Sandro very much for being here, for bringing us to this testimony, for his time, and with the hope that it is for everyone. Thank you very much, Sandro. Thank you.